All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High. In the name of God this day. Pick it up in John 5:39. You know, search. Think you have eternal life, and there they was testified me, and you and I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Allah in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. But another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. But had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Proverbs 14:28. So 14? Hmm. Okay, 14. In the multitude of people is the king's honor, but in the want of people is the destruction of the prince. Shalom, man. Now, since I mentioned that, I want to look at a couple of things, right? So I want you to come over here to 2 Chronicles 21:5. You can make it 20. Yeah, 21:5 is cool. It said Jeroboam was 32 years old when he began to reign. Shalom, man. And he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way of the kings of Yasharal, like as did the house of Ahab, for he had the daughter of Ahab the wife, and worked that which was evil in the eyes of Yahuwah. Howbeit Yahuwah would not destroy the house of David because of the covenant that he made with David, as he had promised to give him a light, give a light to him and to his sons forever. And I think we dealt with light. We want to pause because we're gonna be dealing with light, so we have to pause and deal with that. That Hebrew word for Paul is ner. For light is ner. Also means to glisten. And you have Nun, Yod, and Rosh, and you can proceed at this present time with Nun, Yod, and Rosh. After we look at this Nun, Yod, and Rosh, we'll take a look at Proverbs chapter 6, and probably about verse 22, or maybe 20. Proverbs chapter 6. We'll go ahead and take a look at John chapter 7, if my memory serves me properly. But what we're going to look at is what I just mentioned. I didn't have it on tape. So about these people want to bring it, because we were talking about the movie, talking about their life and Nipsey Hussle's character being removed. That he named the album Victory Lap. Also know what a victory lap is. You know what I'm saying? That's the end of something. You already know what they use for the checkerboard flag. Y'all know what a checkerboard flag symbolizes, don't you? No, it's not just Masonic. I'm talking about what it actually symbolizes. It symbolizes duality. You know what I'm saying? Or the bringing together opposites, or yin and yang, if you would. So that's why you see the yin and yang symbol always black and white, because yin and yang is for male energy and female energy. So when you see that checkerboard, that's for the bringing together of opposites. You know what I'm saying? So it's for the bringing together of the male and female principle. Now these people exalt the male and female principle above, the female principle above all things. That's why when you go to DC, you got the obelisk and you got the reflection pool. Because the obelisk is the bull penis, the reflection pool is the vagina. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to ask yourself, why is the Washington Monument an obelisk? But that's something that's from Egypt. But there's obelisks all across the world. Because these people worship the masculine principle of male genitalia. You know what I'm saying? Usually not too far away from that male genitalia is female genitalia. Now, what is the purpose of this? This is the root of the sons of Satan. This is why in the world, throughout the course of history, that sexual perversion has always been promoted very heavily. Because sexual perversion is probably the biggest way to control the masses. That's why they're real big on sex magic. That's why when you join the entertainment industry, regardless if it's music, athletes, whatever the case may be, you always hear stories about sexual orgies, sexual parties, sexual deviancy, because it's sex magic. This is what they do to control the masses, by using that to control your base desires. Because what is the easiest way to control someone outside of mental manipulation is to manipulate their desires. And the average person has a desire to be gratified sexually. You know what I'm saying? So this is what they use. This is why Lester Crowley was real big on the promotion of sex magic. I don't know if y'all know who that is. You know what I'm saying? That man literally named himself the Beast. Said he was the self-proclaimed wickedest man alive. But he was a sex magician, a warlock. Text, I think specifically I want to say Leviticus chapter 20, he had such a long list of sexual immoral acts, for lack of a better term, that he did not want you to participate in. Because these people were participating in the land. The thing that the law did not specify and mention, which you would know if you study those cultures, is that's what those people did to venerate the deities that they worship. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't nothing for an Egyptian to go get a man, hit him in the butt, and worship whatever God they was worshiping. Or two women to do whatever it was they were doing, whatever God they were worshiping. How these people, it doesn't matter if you don't want to believe that it's true. They're doing it. And the same way, this is what we mentioned, that the same way you say you believe in Yahuwah is the same way they say they believe in Pan, or they believe in Ashtaroth, or they believe in such and such. They treat it the same way that you say you treat Yahuwah. Don't matter if you don't think they do. They do. But his point was, you seen he made that last album Victory Lap, and then they killed the character. And after they kill the character, he becomes deified. You know what I'm saying? They make a statue of him. Have they finished that statue? I'm just asking, I don't recall. I know they were building a whole museum, gonna build a whole bronze idol for this nigga. You know what I'm talking about? And all of this type of stuff. Now he's quote unquote immortalized. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know they got no, we had seen a story where they were going to build. I think they was going to tear down, they closed the marathon store, and they was going to build the idol in this spot and do some whole other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now you see the same thing with Kobe Bryant. As we were talking about last night. That's what made him mention Pan's Labyrinth, because he mentioned the characters. You had Pan, you had a woman who had to sacrifice her son. Well, Pan is the father god, which would be Osiris. The woman who has to sacrifice her brother is Isis. And then the little boy, he's Horus, because they're trying to teach you of the divine family, or the version of the masculine and feminine, so you can worship Coochie. Because that's what they believe in. Because I was telling them, I mentioned to y'all, when I seen Kobe die, the first thing I looked at is, what is the significance of this date to the deities that they worship? And it was a day for Pan. And then like you see him dead on the mountainside in vegetation, because Pan is the god of vegetation, which is Osiris, who is the green man. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who they worship. And that nigga probably knowingly and willfully offered himself, because he really thought that once I die, because, you know, they believe this. I just seen somebody mention it today or yesterday. They believe energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transformed. They believe this. So they believe if they die, they don't die. They just come back in another form and substance. You know what I'm saying? Like, this nigga believes this. So you looking at it, why would that nigga do that? Because you don't follow the school of thought that he does. So you don't believe with us. So if he believes that, that would not be far-fetched to him to say, oh yeah, we're going to die today. Because I ain't going to die, because I'm going to be a god after this, and I'm going to go up there and hang out with Zeus and such and such. Because whether you want to believe it or not, these people did this stuff for thousands of years. What do I say to CP? Say people war. Say he's a descendant of Aztecs. And I know y'all know what them Aztecs was doing. Who don't know what them Aztecs was doing? They were sacrificing people and eating their heart. And they did it regularly. And they sacrificed people to their main god, which was Quetzalcoatl, which is serpent god. Y'all ever seen a picture of this thing? It's a picture of Quetzalcoatl in like multiple different civilizations. But you probably done seen it. Little winged serpent god. That's who they until the Lord get here. And it don't matter if you don't think that these people do it. They do it.
Everybody watch what the end is.
That really narrows it down.
That's what the end is. Apocalypse.
I never saw that.
Yeah, when they said everybody have all the heads falling out.
It was Aztec. That's what they did. That was an accurate depiction.
Yeah.
Well, you figure, yeah, you got us there. You say just said it is. Oh, don't roll your eyes at me. I step in your picture. But let's continue. What y'all got for that noon yard and roster for life?
Wait, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So you got the daughter, get the daughter is dead in my life. So,
Oh, them niggas dead.
Oh, you say you believe that?
Oh, them niggas dead.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing worry about it. Them niggas dead. They couldn't dead.
So she was just there.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna send my daughter up too. Now she's immortalized. Because look what they did. She had to die for the purpose of venerating the feminine principle. Now exactly all that. Because now you look how strong she is. She files a lawsuit the day of the memorial. You come out with this here. The whole memorial is filled up with nothing but witches and warlocks because it ain't nothing but niggas who follow what he followed. Because when we were talking about last night, Kobe been riding the goat. You don't win an Oscar and you ain't been riding the goat. Yeah, that nigga been. You know, that, what do he care? Because when I say what does he care? Because he believes that this is what's going to happen when this occurs. He don't look at it like we would and say, shoot, when you're dead, you're dead. You know what I'm saying? He look at it as, I'm going to a celestial spot and I'm going to do this and do that. The same way Heaven's Gate. Y'all familiar with Heaven's Gate? This from the 90s, so y'all might have been sure. But that dude convinced all these people to sacrifice themselves because a spaceship was going to come pick them up and take them to heaven. We can't make this up. That nigga wanted to name Nike Dimension 6. That man had 3 names he was going to name Nike. Nike, Falcon, or Dimension 6. And I don't think Dimension 6 or Falcon probably would have went over too well. You know what I'm saying? Falcon is for Horus. Dimension 6 is for Saturn, which is Pan. And Nike or Nike is the Greek goddess of victory. You know what I'm saying? This nigga, hey man, and guess what? Nigga so stupid that a nigga uplift Kaepernick, who is supported by a company that runs sweatshops all across the world. And nigga mad at the NFL, but you support a nigga who gets paid from a company that pays a nigga 45 cents an hour to make sneakers on their feet. So you have Noon, God, and Rob. So you just sit back and look at it. It's just as simple as that. The work of Yahushua is everlasting life. We read on Wednesday that he said that in him was the light, and the light was the life of men. I want you to come to Proverbs chapter 6 real quick, live, while we hold the 2 Chronicles chapter 21. Who recalls where at in the text that he said that he would leave a light for David in Jerusalem, and why? Not for the Gentile. I throw a clue out there for you. I didn't understand you. So I did throw a clue out there for you. Solomon is involved. No. It's in First Kings chapter 11. When Solomon had them been to bust down them old strange hoes, and he snatched the kingdom. He told them that I won't take but 10 of the tribes from you, but I will leave a light in Jerusalem for David, my servant's sake. So that's why he said, I made a covenant to David and I leave a light, because that's what he swore to him in 2 Samuel 13, that he would put a man on the throne from his loins. But Proverbs chapter 6, right? Verse 20. My son, keep your father's commandment and forsake not the Torah of your mother. Bind them continually upon your heart and tie them about your neck. When you go, it shall lead you. When you sleep, it shall keep you. And when you awake, it shall talk with you. And we didn't talk about that before. We already know when you come with dealing with Mashiach specifically, that's the word that led him while he was alive. It's the word that guarded him while he was in the grave. And when he awoke, it's the word that he taught. But it's the same token for you. While you alive, it's the word that's going to direct you. If that word is in your heart and you done wrote it on your heart and tied it about your neck, that's the same word that's going to raise you from the dead. And if it raises you from the dead, it's the same word that's going to speak to you, because then Mashiach will be speaking to you face to face, which is a part of being transformed and conformed into an image of a son of Elohim, which we discussed last night. Who recalls what he said that he had to teach you with in the wilderness for you to become a son? What were those 2 things that he said he taught? Thorns and briars. Thorns and briars. That's what he taught people with. Even when you look at it in the wilderness, when we were literally in the wilderness, what did he teach them people with? Thorns and briars. Because he said that I've led you and suffered you to thirst and to hunger, to humble you, to see if you would keep my instructions or no, right? Deuteronomy chapter 8, that's what he said he did. Because I done said this before. The hallmark of a man's character is how he behaves in adverse situations. You'll never know what somebody will learn and do when situations are comfortable, because it's easy for you to do what it is that you say you're going to do. But when adversity strikes, that's when you see the hallmark and the metal of a man. That's when you see where you hold fast to the ideals that you say you possess when you are faced with adversity. Well, now it's difficult. All of us know how easy, when you face something that's easy, now it becomes difficult. Now you sit there asking yourself, do you really want to do it? Why do you think, what did Yahushua tell his apostles? Tell them not to be sorrowful, because he what? He overcame the world. And then what did he tell you? He made you multiple promises of what you would get if you overcame the world. And the Apostle John said, who is he that overcome the world? For he that believed that Yahushua is the son of Elohim. So there's a reason for that. That's why you have to be taught with thorns and briars to see if you have the wherewithal in the metal to overcome. Anybody, regardless, don't get it twisted, right? Entertainers' lives are scripted, and these people live in a type of controlled environment. It does not mean that these people are not talented, and it doesn't mean that these people don't have a work ethic, and it does not mean that these people don't face adverse situations and circumstances. If you're going to be successful, you have to overcome adversity. There's no way around it. Who have you ever heard that was successful in any endeavor that does not have a story of adversity that they can tell you that they overcame? It does not exist. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what you're involved in. There's going to be adversity, and how you deal with the adversity will determine how successful the endeavor is. I don't care if it's business. I don't care if it's a marriage. I don't care if it's a friendship. I don't care if it's your service to Yahuwah. You will face adversity. What will you do when you face it? Will you run? Will you hide? Will you crumple? Will you fold? Will you allow your emotions to dictate your responses to the adversity? One of the biggest ways what men gain respect in the eyesight of all is how they handle adversity. Nevertheless, the commandment else. Come over here to Psalm 27 real quick. Children, y'all making a little bit too much noise, children. Y'all, huh? We do that? 27:1. We'll get John 7 in a moment. 27:1 is in line of what we're discussing. Say, Yahuwah is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? Why would you fear if we know that the word is Ner, and that's the Nun, Yod, and Rosh, and that's the work that Yahushua has done to bring forth everlasting life or everlasting seed? Why would you fear when you know what is contained in the light? Within him was the light, and the light was the life of men, and the darkness comprehends it not. See, this is what I mean when I mentioned, I think I mentioned that last night, or might have been when we were talking. That's when we were talking after y'all, everybody left. People who don't believe the word cannot comprehend it. Because he was referencing how people can be in the word and leave it. Well, they leave it because they never believed it. So they can never comprehend it. So because you can't comprehend it, it's foolishness. That's why some people can sit around and say, I'm a witch, I'm going to hell, and laugh and mock. But he already told you in Timothy that in the last days there will be what? Scoffers, mockers. Where's the sign of his coming? This, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they live. But you know why people laugh? See, people laugh for one reason and one reason alone, is because they don't think that the consequence is ever coming. So then they begin to look at how you believe in fairy tales and begin to debase themselves. The difference between you and them is you ain't supposed to care. You're supposed to let them mock. Or if you have a strong level of understanding, you would have the ability to do what Elijah did and mock them. You know what I'm saying? But you can't do that if you don't have a strong level of understanding. That's when they're in a situation, well, where your spell's at now. Huh? That's why I say, oh, you cast a spell? Cast a husband spell, huh? You know what I'm saying? Cast one of that. Cast a clean coochie spell. You know what I'm saying? Do stuff like that, because that's how you have to mock them back with what, because that's what Elijah did. Maybe he waking, maybe he's sleeping, maybe he be on a long journey. Some people, you can't do people like that. The lies you tell. The lies you tell. Shoot, Yahushua mock people all the time. I've been showing y'all for years that he had one of the most sarcastic mouths that you don't want to come across. You know what I'm saying? But you're supposed to be. But notice again, and I have to reference it for those who don't know, He was only sarcastic to the smarty art people, the people who professed to be teachers and knowers of the word, but didn't know what they were talking about. That's who he mocked. You never seen him mock a regular person. You never seen him mock people who were mired in sin or who had no knowledge of true faith in Yahuwah. He only mocked the scribes, the teachers, the Pharisees, and the doctors of the law because they were sizing him. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you know he was a black man and the realest black man, quote unquote, that you'd ever want to, because he wouldn't admit it. You ain't gonna come over here and disrespect me like that. I know you stupid. Let me clown you to your face, and then you're gonna wait. It ain't gonna hit you till 20, 30 minutes later that I just disrespected you. You know what I'm saying? That's what he used to do. I love him for it too. I said, boy, that boy, that's hard with it. You know what I'm saying? When you really pay attention to how he communicated, he didn't play no games with the people. He disrespected them constantly. And they deserved it too. And he told them about themselves regularly. Because you think you have arrived and you don't. Shall I be afraid? And what did we read last night? How is you who are the strength of your life? Because you think because your mind is stayed on him because you trust in him. That's how he ends up becoming your strength. That's why the book tells you when you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small or your faith is small. The stronger the faith, the stronger the ability to handle adversity. The weaker the faith, the weaker the ability to handle adversity. Nevertheless, when the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Boom. What did we talk about last night with that? We could grab that John 18 right now. You can still keep your hold in John 7 and 2 Chronicles chapter 21. Bear with me, because I might try to just keep on with this topic and stretch it out as long as possible, because I got multiple dates to attend. 18 and 1, if you would. That boy talking to himself. John 18 and 1. When Yahushua had spoken these words, he went forth with his disciples over the brook of Cedron, where was a garden, into the which he entered, and his disciples. Judas also, which betrayed him, knew the place, for Yahushua often resorted thither with his disciples. Judas had then, having received a band of men and officers from the chief priests and Pharisees, come thither with lanterns and torches and weapons. Yahushua, therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, went forth and said unto them, Whom seek you? They answered and said unto him, Yahushua Nazareth. Yahushua said unto them, I am he. And Judas also, which betrayed him, stood with them. And as soon as they said, he said unto them, I am he, they went backward and fell to the ground. Now go back to Psalm 27. What did he tell you? When the wicked, even my enemies, came upon me, they trying to cast a spell on you. Well, let the hoe cast it. Because if she cast it, the same trap she's trying to catch me with gonna catch her or catch him. At the end of the day, do you believe in the ability of who to defend his household, or do you believe in the ability of a whore and a skank to cast a spell on you? That's what they is. You meet a witch, you met a whore. Literally. Because that's what they have to do. There's no such thing.
It might be. I would say, if you want a word, you believe in God. Someone else that's into witchcraft and all that, they cast a spell on you.
Absolutely. That's what I would just mention. Absolutely not. I'll show you why. Deuteronomy 18. Absolutely not. The only way that anybody, the only way, that's why I just said that. So I'm glad that so it wasn't. After we read this here in Deuteronomy 18, we'll grab John 18 and talk along with it. Well, you get spells cast on you every day. Every time you cut a song on, a spell was cast. Every time you cut that TV on, a spell was cast. No, I'm just letting you. I mean, just letting you know, every time you cut a record on, especially from a secular artist, you were listening to a spell being cast on you. Because spells ain't like what you see in the movies, toil and toil. No, oh, absolutely not. Spells are done with words. I mean, that does to an extent, but that doesn't have the power that say songs do. Songs are probably one of the strongest forms of witchcraft on the earth. Drums are repetitive, hooks are repetitive. because they're trying to implant a thought process in your head for you to emulate later.
I heard that the masculine songs.
They do. According to certain people in the business, they say that they take them songs, they take the masters, excuse me, and lay them on a pentagram and pray for as many unclean spirits to enter into that master as possible. Yeah, the Jewish cat that helped start Def Jam. And he's a Kabbalist. And you notice every time you see Rick Rubin, he's dressed in all black. That's why you always see the Jewish people, they always dressed in all black. You never read nowhere in the text about any of Yahuwah's priests dressing in all black. He said the fine linen, clean and white, is the righteousness of the saints. So they're showing you who they serve if you know what you're looking at. Yeah, that's who started. Rick Rubin is the main producer for the Beastie Boys and Run DMC. He's the one who produced 99 Problems for Jay-Z. You wonder why when he got the Black Album, and that was supposed to be his retirement, and then when he came back, he was a totally different nigga.
In his house,
they showing you, but we don't know what we're looking at. And like I say, if this ain't no Illuminati secret society type stuff, this is information that people say that when they have no idea what they're talking about, they can't explain it. So they say, oh, it's Illuminati. No, that nigga is a Kabbalist. How many of y'all familiar with what Kabbalah is? You ever seen how Madonna or Michael Jackson used to walk around with that red bracelet on? They were showing you that they were Kabbalists. I don't want to grab a book for it, but standing on the little tree of life and all, I said, you take this back. This is a demon book. I'm straight. But they got to call it Tree of Life. I forget the name, what they call it. You know what I'm saying, man? They believe in a lot of weird stuff. That's what we were talking about before y'all came in here. You got three forms of mysticism. You have Christian mysticism, which is the Gnostic system. You have Sufi Islam, which is Islamic mysticism, which I read about that in prison. I did read a little bit about the Gnostics. And then you have Bala, which is Jewish mysticism. And all of it's witchcraft. All three of them are witchcraft. That's what they are. There's no other way to put it. It's witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? Paris Hilton was a Kabbalist. I say Michael Jackson was a Kabbalist. Mass majority of the people in the entertainment business is a Kabbalist. Shoot, LeBron James is a Kabbalist. That's why you see them hanging out with Jewish people. And Jewish, guess who became when Sean got out of prison, he became a Kabbalist. That's what they do. Because they end up worshiping Saturn and worshiping Pan. And part of Kabbalah is that metaphysics, that God, man, word, flesh, and you can take the tree of life and it lines up with the human body and chakra this and chakra that. Pure another nonsense. Yeah, I'm telling you, they all do it. She's shocked. She's like, what?
No, I just got all this bracelet.
Oh yeah, they all do it. I knew that before I knew anything about it because Madonna was the first person they mentioned was a Kabbalist, and she had it on, and then they just started showing pictures of people who had it, but I didn't know anything about Kabbalah at the time when I seen that. Yeah, they're letting you know all of them are all practicing witches and warlocks. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm telling you. There ain't no Illuminati stuff. Listen, when he say that we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high places and against principalities, it is the truth. Most politicians are witches. Is a practicing witch. And their job is to bewitch you by casting spells. I think it even say that in the text about bewitching people. You know what I'm saying? And bewitching people is not necessarily toil, and trouble, and with a pot with some water boiling. Like they want to show you in the movies, make you. That's just the version. Now they have things what they call white magic and black magic. They say white magic, that's harmless. Black magic, that's all bad. Nevertheless, Deuteronomy 18:9. Huh? But look what she called herself. Look at her name. But look at her name. Her name is Madonna. That's not her real name. I think that whole name Norma Jean or something like that. Huh? Well, shoot, that's even horrible. She named after ISIS. No, then that must be what her name is, Marilyn Monroe. Somebody named Norma Jean. No, I mean Marilyn Monroe wasn't nothing but a bust down. Thought she was. JFK was busting her back loose, along with a few other people. That's all she was, just a high class whore. And when they got tired of her, they killed her. You know what I'm saying? Get you on out the way. He said, when you are to the land which Yahuwah Elohim give you, you shall not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you one that make his son or daughter pass through the fire, or that use divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto Yahuwah. And because of these abominations, your Elohim do drive them out from before you. You shall be perfect with Yahuwah your Elohim. For these nations which you possess, hearken unto observer of times and unto diviners. But as for you, Yahuwah your Elohim have not suffered you to do so. Now, the example of what we talk about is like what we were looking at Paul last night. When he got the way of the Most High God and the way of salvation. Man, look here, man. I'm trying to think of the verse, but it escapes my mind. But you can come to John 18, though. But if you serve Yahuwah, ain't no evil thing can touch you. None whatsoever. It can't touch, it can't do nothing to you. Because at that point, we saying Yahuwah is insufficient to protect his own household. Oh, yeah, definitely. You can look at that. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Indeed. Ain't nothing they can do. That hope can cast 1,000 spells. All Yahuwah gonna do is uplift you in their face. So you're right. I'm glad you remembered that. I forgot we read that. Oh, it's John 19, excuse me. 19 and 10. What's that?
I was thinking about how it's funny how people, like all the people who wear them when they get from like and they say I want to thank God and Jesus, they taking something.
No, they talking about. Yeah, but see, we supposed to have in us sense what God you talking about, because Paul say it's many gods, but it's one true and living. Like, what God are you talking about? They all get, y'all got to know full well when Lil Wayne get on talking about I want to thank God, he ain't talking about Yahuwah. You ain't got to listen to his songs. Look at nigga. Just look at it. Does he look like anybody that would serve a power greater than him? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, Satan is not a power greater than you. Because Satan has no power. The only power he get is what Yahuwah allows him to have. He don't have no power. Satan has no power whatsoever. What can Satan do? At the end of the day, when you look at the text, what can Satan do? What power do you see Satan wield anywhere? He had to ask, could he touch Job? Matter of fact, he didn't even ask. Yahuwah said, have you considered? So Yahuwah already had the confidence that Job was going to stand up in the day anyway, which shows you about how you predestined for salvation. He said, you consider my servant Job? Ain't nobody like him in the earth. He wasn't worried about Job falling off. No, Job ain't going to fall. Man, Satan can't do nothing. Oh, I mean, of course, the Kabbalah is going to try to, and I have to grab some more information. We can discuss it. But of course, they're going to try to tie the, because they say it's tied to the word, because it's just an extension of the word. But all it is to make you believe that it's all roads lead to the same place, and they do. Hellfire. And they're crying like somebody rocked. John 18 and 10. Then Pilate said unto him, speak you not unto me? Know that I have power to crucify you, and I have power to release you? Yahushua answered, you could have no power at all against me, except it was given you from above. Therefore, he that delivered me unto you have the greater sin. Can't nobody do nothing to you unless Yahuwah allow it. Ain't no evil anybody can do to you unless Yahuwah allow it. Can't happen. Back to Psalms 27. Verse 21. He said, when the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, come upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though a host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this will I be confident. One thing I have a desire of Yahuwah, that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of Yahuwah all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of Yahuwah and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me upon a rock. And now my head shall be lifted up above my enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto you. Notice what he said, right? I'll be confident because one thing I've desired of Yahuwah that I will constantly seek after, and that's to dwell in his house. So when you ain't worried about what the people gonna do, because if you're seeking to dwell in this house, what did Yahushua tell us in the third chapter of John? Destroy this tabernacle, I'll build it up in 3 days. And he was referring to the temple of his body. Because if you dwell in Yahushua and he dwells in you, then you seek to dwell in the house of Yahuwah, and that's your confidence. You're not concerned what a man can do. Why are you not concerned with that? Because you know that Yahuwah is light, and that's the work of Yahushua to give you everlasting life. What does that take us back to? What we were talking about in the beginning when you was looking at the last Adam separating, or the last light of separation. You seen the first light of separation in the beginning when he made the first son. And then we'll get to that in a moment, as forth as his progeny and things of that nature. Outstanding. Did I see 125? I did. John 7:7. Well, not 7:7. Pick it up at verse 1. I'm using this for a backdrop. All these things, after these things, Yahushua walked in Galilee, but he would not walk in jewelry because the Yahudim sought to kill him. Now the Yahudim's feast of tabernacles was at hand. His brethren therefore said unto him, depart hence and go into Yehuda, and that your disciples also may see the work that you do. For there is no man that do anything in secret. He himself seek to be known openly. If you do these things, show yourself to the world. But neither did his brethren believe in him. Then Yahushua said unto them, my time is not yet come, but your time is always ready. The world cannot hate you, but me it hate, because I testify of it, that the works thereof are evil. What did Yahushua say in the 3rd chapter, John, about people's works being evil and light? Does anybody recall the synopsis of what he stated when he said that?
You know, they pretty much saying they know there's definitely light.
The deed's going to be manifest. Indeed, because Elohim makes manifest. You know what I'm saying? Because he's light. What is he making manifest? Is person. Because this is going to make manifest. This is why he said the instructions is a lamp and the commandments is a light. And the reproofs of instruction is the way of life. And you notice what it said? The reproofs or discipline or the thorns and the briars. Because it's the discipline or what he instructs you in the way of life, which is the way of Kadash, which the unclean and fools cannot enter into. See, you can't enter into the straight gate if you defile or you a fool. You know what makes you a fool? Hearing and not doing. That's what makes you a fool. Trusting in your own way. That's what makes you a fool. Because we already know the word saying that he that trusteth in his own heart is a fool. And what does this world tell you to do all day, every day? Follow your heart. But he told you your heart is desperately wicked and deceitful above all things. Who can know it? So why would you follow it? When you're supposed to be putting this man's word in your heart, and then you follow that, because then you will be following God's heart and not your own. Because your heart will destroy you. God's heart will save you, because your heart is foolish. You know what I'm saying? Your heart will do what seems right at the time. God's heart is going to have you do what seems right for eternity. But let's go over here to back to 2 Chronicles 21:8. After this, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 is what we're going to take a look at. Second Chronicles 21:8. In his days, the Edomites revolted from under the dominion of Yehuda and made themselves a king. Then Jeroboam went forth with his princes and all his chariots with him, and he rose up by night and smote the Edomites which compassed him in, and the captain of the chariots. So the Edomites revolted under the hand of Yehuda unto this day. The same time also did Libnah revolt from under his hand, because he had forsaken Yahuwah Elohim of his fathers. Moreover, he made in the high places in the mountains of Yehuda, and it caused the inhabitants of Jerusalem to commit fornication, and compelled Yehuda thereto. Now, this is why I mentioned that, because the stuff we were mentioning what these people doing with fornication, and that's zinah, and that is to be a whore, or to commit adultery, or to be a cult prostitute, or to be unfaithful, or to commit fornication. It's something that we done discussed before. And you got Zayin, Noon, and Hay. And all you're going to end up seeing is how you can behold how you'll be cut off from the seed. You understand? That's what that tells you. Take that Zayin, you got that cut. You take that Noon, you got that seed, and now behold, you cut off from that seed. Why you cut off from that seed? Because that's why they promote sex magic. Because Yahuwah is not with it. You know what I'm saying? He's not with it. That's why they promote that in the earth. Come over to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. And after that, 1 John chapter 3 and verse 4, I guess. See, now you got to understand something. These people know this. These people know that, well, Yahuwah is not on that. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 1. They know Yahuwah is not on that. You know what I'm saying? All that defiling yourself and doing this, that, and the third, he ain't with it. No, he said, the marriage bed is undefiled, but adulterers and whoremongers he gonna judge, and that's what they teach him to do. And then guess what? The same way token, right? Like the chick asked me about that meme, but I shared that meme for a reason, because it's accurate. That Megan Thee Stallion don't know what's in her contract, according to her, allegedly, because I believe the stupid whole product knew what was in it. You know what I'm saying? Because according to Carl Crawford, and I know who he was, like baseball, I know you know who he was. You know what I'm saying? Because he played for the Rays, and he was raw with the Rays. When he got traded with the Red Sox, got that big bread, that nigga fell off. You know what I'm saying? He got 180 million for the Red Sox and was never heard from again, but he got that bread. But in Tampa, he was raw. But according to him, her deal is top notch for someone who is a nobody, to get half your masters and not have to pretty much give up all your money. But it was the meme was saying, and this is a woman who influenced multiple women. He was like, that's an example of the blind leading the blind. So how many of these hoes was running around here talking about hot girl summer, this, that, and the third? That's witchcraft. Because they may have not ran around here and conducted themselves in that fashion without that spell being cast through that radio day in and day out. Because all she doing was continuing a long line of rapping hoes. You know what I'm saying? Lil' Kim probably was the original rapping hoe. You know, Foxy Brown was on her heels, but she wasn't big enough of a hoe. She was a hoe, but she wasn't big enough as a hoe. The Foxy wanted to be a thug at the same time. See, Lil' Kim was cool with being a slut bucket. You know what I'm talking about? And then they passed the baton off. They tried to pass it to a mill, but she was trash and she was ugly. So they had to move on, get somebody else. Well, am I lying though? You know what I'm talking about? So they passed it off to Nicki Minaj after a while. There was a gap between Lil' Kim and Nicki Minaj, but nobody really took that up and ran. Because Eve wanted to be a sophisticated hoe. But Trina never got that big. She never got that big. Trina was definitely a rapping hoe, but she didn't get that big. Oh, Mia X wasn't a rapping hoe. She was a gangster. She was a gangster. No, we talking about hoes. Well, I can remember back in '96, we go to Mr. Ray record store on Beach back in the day, and he had that doggone poster. And she's supposed to took the baton from Nicki Minaj. You know what I'm saying? But see that junk tapering off. So, because one thing about women, y'all gotta understand, so it is what it is. Yeah, but see, the hoe got pregnant, she slid off in the cut. But a woman's prime is between the ages of 16 and 24. So they don't want no old hoes. They want young hoes. Yeah, your prime pass. Ain't nobody, little boys ain't beat their BT. You gotta get a new. You gotta get a new. You know what I'm saying? So they passed the baton off to Megan Thee Stallion. Some people believe she's a man. I don't know. No, she's a husky chick. I mean, that ain't nothing but a character. That ain't nothing but a character. Yeah, like she probably get on there and rap hard and then sit there talk all that trash. I don't care nothing about a nigga. Niggas eating all in the fake cream pie and treat her any kind of way and she love it. But that what? She like to get cream pie? That's unfortunate. I didn't know you like to listen to that type of music.
No, that's not what happened.
Oh, you listen to that? I ain't never heard none of that whole music. Why would I listen to Megan Thee Stallion? You been listening to Megan Thee Stallion? Oh, you on that too? Huh? So you're a different type of. That's what you're telling me.
I am not a whore.
Look at it.
I mean, I just know that's not my life.
I mean, I'm saying, are y'all fantasizing that that's your life?
Absolutely.
I'm saying, but is you fantasizing about it?
No.
So y'all like to hear about niggas lying about stuff they ain't even doing. So y'all fantasizing about lies. How many of you been? So you been riding around talking about you a hot girl, so you don't care nothing about a nigga.
They don't care about niggas we married. We do care about niggas.
I don't know. There's a lot of women. Hold up. I just had a nigga in my car yesterday. That nigga was like, he looked his wife in the face and said, "I hate you. I wish you would leave."
But I mean, like, listening to act though. It ain't really hot.
You say, why wouldn't he leave? Hey, man, I done told y'all a nigga stay with a woman he can't stand it. I need to go to work and come home and shut the door. See, hopefully one day this hoe just leave. That's what he hoped for. But the man be need to hope to pack up and leave. What? Why he don't leave? Well, shoot, probably because he taking care of her. I don't know. But that's what he told me. He was like, bruh. No, because we were talking about what it was. That nigga Brandon was with him at a park and the man seen a beautiful woman. He was like, "Hey, I wish my wife would die." He was like, "Well, I was so disappointed." But I was like, the question should be to you, not that he said that, but what type of woman is she that would make a nigga say that? It's not normal conversation where a nigga be like, "Hey, I wish my wife would die." You need to ask. My question would have been, "Well, what your wife be doing make you feel like that?" You know what I'm saying? He thinking like the dude was saying that she wish he would die so he could get with this woman he seen. And I'm like, nah, boy. No, man. That's not regular conversation, man. That ain't just something the dude say out his mouth. Like, them strong words. Death is final. You know, when you die, you're not coming back to the Lord come. So to say you wish somebody would die, well, what is she doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is she doing? Man, shoot. I know a couple dudes that felt like they want to put a bullet in their head just to get away from their wife. Because it's more detrimental to the man to divorce her than it is for him to stay. In this society, if he leave, that nigga finna be living in the box. I kill her, I'm going to prison. I don't want to be in prison. Shoot, the nigga was telling me yesterday he knew a dude that caught his wife with another dude at the club, shot her, shot him, killed the dude, did 20 years, and got back with her when he got out. Who you telling? Who you telling? That nigga, I said, well, that nigga, that wow. That nigga Bruce, that was Bruce told me that. Bruce said, I don't know how he knew he was there. I don't know how he knew he was there. I said, she got back with him. Yeah, they together to the day. I said, well, that nigga, that wild. I ain't going to prison about no coochie. But you don't go to prison, guess what she gonna do? Keep on popping. So I'm going out and say, everybody say who? Caught her in there with a piece of meat in her bigger than mine. And he said, I kill her and him. That's true quote. On the elevator, do all kind of jail. Dude, Stephanie told me that coming back from cold. And he said, I kill her and him. That nigga felt like, shoot, that nigga rod too big. I can't come back. He didn't. But I was locked up with a dude in the neighborhood who did.
Oh, man.
Now he didn't. They gave him a good strong 30 years. Good strong 30. You know what I'm talking about? I know a dude got 28 because he stabbed his stepdad. He was beating him up, and he was like, "You was good on the first 3, But when you hit him with the next 5, it was like, we got to send you to prison for 30 years. And say, hey, no, they all jokes aside, all seriousness, they say once you immobilize a threat, like if you keep going, or you going to prison. Like if you were threatening me, you came at me and I shot you one time, and I stopped you, then you good. But if I decide to pop, 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 I'm going to prison.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Based off of witnesses. Witnesses. His mama was right there.
But if there's no witness, you use my word against yours.
You still probably going to prison. You still going to prison. Some can. You know what I'm saying? And the dude who was doing the stabbing was a big dude. Yeah, man. But this nigga like 40 years old, you fighting your mama, old man. You sit so old. No, this nigga was old, man. He wasn't no young nigga. He's he probably wasn't 40, he was probably about 30 something. He was in his mid-30s. And I think his stepdaddy was in his like late 50s, early 60s. Yeah, this was grown man. They was squaring up, but then he felt like that was in 2004. That nigga still got about 10 more years to go. There's a lot of dudes I left behind still there. Boy, shoot, my homeboy Sylvester got 75. Sylvester earned him 75. Boy, that nigga killed the nigga, put him in the trunk, and dumped his body somewhere. No, and set the car on fire. So he earned him whole 75. I'm a dog, you know what I mean? Shoot, I can't help the fact he was a killer. He was cool with me. I mean, it was all right with me. I mean, he wasn't my dog once we got to go. When he went to chasing them niggas with the titties. After that, you know, can't be your friend no more. You know that nigga was chasing that point with them titties. I'm like, well, he was still titties for 75 years. I'm like, shoot, nigga, I'm gonna go beat my beat before I do that. Shoot, man, that was, man, y'all have mercy on this soul, man. That's what Willie used to
Not 10.
Bet you lied. 10 years is a long time. Oh no, it ain't not compared to that, but we was kids. He had already went in and did them 10. So he telling us like, hey boy, ain't no excuse. This is what you do. You get I got through them 10 through this hip, boy. That's what you ought to do. Boy, you go to that road, that's what you gonna do. Go around there messing with the boys, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
That's the ultimatum.
Yeah, that's what he was telling us. We were like 15. We were like 15, 16 years old. We were young, man. Yeah, that's what he was telling us. You know what I'm saying? That's all right. Straight up and down. They like that. Every day, every night. Messing with no grown rusty niggas. Shoot. Call home like this. I need some extra money. I ran out of lotion. You know what I'm talking about? Ooh, no. Don't live your life like that. Don't do it. First Thessalonians 4:1, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. He say, furthermore, this is 1 Thessalonians 4:1. He say, furthermore, then we beseech you, brethren, and exhort you by the Lord Yahushua, that as you received of us how you ought to walk and to please Elohim, so Lord Yahushua, this is the will of Elohim, even your sanctification, that you should abstain from fornication. That every one of you should know how to possess his vessel in sanctification and in honor, not in the lust of conspicuous, even as the Gentiles which know not Elohim, that no man go beyond and defraud his brother in any matter, because the Lord is the offender of all such, as we also forewarned you and testified. For Elohim have not called us unto uncleanness, but unto Kadash. He therefore that despise not men, but Elohim, who have given unto us his Ruach HaKadosh. So notice that he said that the Gentiles don't know how to possess their vessel with honor. It said in the multitude of people is the honor of the king. How do you honor the king? John chapter 12. And then we're going to shift and look at these stars in this firmament about being sons of Elohim and things of that nature. I did mention 1 John chapter 3, and we'll get this after this John chapter 12. 12 and 23 is sufficient. Matter of fact, we'll look at one more thing with fornication after this John 12. We'll go to Ezekiel 16 just because that's what I feel like. John 12 and 23. Who shall answer them, saying, the hour is come, the Son of Man should be esteemed. Truly, truly, I say unto you, except the corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, abide alone. But if it die, it bring forth much fruit. He that love his life shall lose it. He that hate his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. If any man serve me, let him follow me. And where I am, there also shall my servant be. If any man serve me, him will my Abba honor. Now, let's just discuss the Hebrew word for honor real quick. And I think we've talked about it before. I need to find a verse with the word honor in it. That's why. So that's right. The Hebrew word for honor is kavod. You know, and that's kav, bat, u, and dalet. So when you look at it, you know it's something that is esteemed, and glory, and dignity. So this is what he's going to show. When you show that honor or reverence or respect to Yahushua, then his Father will honor you in the same fashion. It says a multitude. Do y'all recall what he said about the stars in heaven in regards to Abraham when he promised him? Does anybody recall what he said? When it came to the stars in heaven, Yahuwah spoke to Abraham in the 15th chapter of Genesis. Do you recall what he told him? He said, make the seed like the stars of heaven in multitude, which cannot be numbered. So when you look at it, the multitude of people is the king's honor, because the multitude of these stars are the people who honored him. Therefore, he will honor them in the same fashion. See, Yahuwah is an Elohim of equity, not equality, but equity, because there's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Equity deals with justice and judgment and a just weight and a balance. Equality means exactly that. And there are no two things on this world, in this earth, that are equal. Men and women are not equal, because there's things that a woman can do that a man cannot. There are things that a man can do that a woman cannot. This world tries to see, that's why they get duality and to bring it together of opposites to make you believe that all things are equal. Again, like I said, when we went over all them idols months back, that's why we were pointing them out. Because you have to train your mind to understand that the idols that were worshipped in the days of antiquity have never stopped being worshipped. That the rites that are included to those deities of antiquity have never stopped being done. This is not no Illuminati stuff, no boogeyman in the dark, and all that asinine stuff that people be talking about. This is real pagan idolatrous worship, real human sacrifices accomplished in the earth. Sex magic is real. It really happens. And people that you might find to be entertaining are participants. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. It doesn't change the fact that it is true. You know what I'm saying? Because that is the lifestyle that they have chosen. The same way that you chose to follow Yahuwah when he manifests himself to you, they chose to follow Pan and Semiramis and Rebus and Happy and Anubis and Horus in the same fashion. They chose to follow Kalima. They chose to follow Shiva the Destroyer. They choose to follow Krishna. They choose to follow Buddha. You don't notice how all these celebrities always believe in some weird act out stuff every time you see them? How does Tina Turner become a Buddhist? How does that So you mean to tell me Ike Turner beat you to the point you got a butt naked man in your house and you bow down to him and worship him? You mean he beat you like that? Absolutely not. Who's even say he beat him? Though we know he beat him. That nigga's crazy. All you gotta do is listen. All you gotta do is listen to him talk. No, I'm just saying because I don't know. I wasn't there. But then when you listen to the nigga talk, oh yeah, he's an abuser. He didn't hit her before. He didn't hit plenty. You know what I'm talking about? I just seen somebody suing Rick James for raping her 40 years ago. Nigga been dead 10 years. Rick James, nigga been, how you sue a nigga who been dead for 10 years for rape you said happened 40 years ago? 1 John 3 and 4. She said she had to get some recompense. Whosoever commits, this is 1 John 3 and 4. Whosoever commits sin, transgress also Torah. Shalom, bro. For sin is transgression of Torah. And you know that he was manifested to take away our sins, and in him is no sin. So pause. We know we dealt with that this is the second light that separates. So we knew that the first light that separated was the light in Genesis. We know that Elohim is light and no part darkness, meaning there is no sin in him whatsoever. This is why he states the fact that whosoever knows him does not sin, because we can't say we're the sons of light and then sin, because then you're saying that you are that the man who you emanate from, that he doesn't. Because we are I meant to read this last night. I didn't read it. Luke chapter 6, verse 39. Luke chapter 6, verse 39. Now, some people over the course of time don't like the fact that we mention these things and say these things. But the only reason being is because some people like for you to stay at a low level. Some people don't like for you to know that you can achieve greatness and do great things. So they want you to remain mired in mediocrity as they are. Some people want to tell you, you can never stop sinning. Have you ever asked yourself, why do people say that? What is their rationale and reasoning for telling you that you can't stop doing something which is only under your control? Because they can't do it. So they want to have it in your mind that you can't do it. You know what I'm saying? That's the same way if somebody say, why you want to start a business? Why you want to do that? Because they're trying to give you the reflection of how they feel about themselves. And you have to learn to ignore that and don't pay that no mind. Oh, you can't stop sinning. We all sin. That man never said we. He said all have sinned. He didn't say we all sin. He said everybody's done it. You can stop though. You know what I'm saying? This brother here just mentioned this here. He know. He said he smoked cigarettes for 20 years. Ain't did it in 2-3 months. You know what I'm saying? But you just got to stop. Well, I smoked reefer for 18 years. Okay, it's time to stop. I ain't smoked reefer in 8 years. It's not no big deal. Leave it alone. You have to stop. That's discipline. What is one of the fruits of the spirit? Is self-control. That's discipline. So you can't stop sinning. So keep that to yourself. Speak for yourself. When they say, well, there's nobody that righteous on the earth, no, not one. You are correct. Until the Lord came. And we're going to read that in 1 John chapter 3 in a minute. Until the Lord came. Because what did we just read last night in Isaiah 54? And the righteousness is of me. And Yahushua is the end or the purpose of the law under all righteousness. So yeah, till the Lord came. Till the Lord came, that's no longer an excuse. He put to death sin by putting to death in his flesh. That's over with. That's why that's the purpose of getting immersed. You die into the sin. You no longer live under that bondage. You live under Elohim. At that point, you've been set free. That's what he means by the truth shall set you free. You're free from death. If you're free from death, that means you're free from sin, because death is the penalty of sin. Period. Man, y'all can do anything you want to do. I don't care what nothing on this earth tell you. You know what I'm saying? If it's within the realms of righteousness, then there's absolutely nothing that can preclude you from accomplishing it. The only thing that can stop you from accomplishing it is if it's not Yahuwah's will, or if you're not committed to what it is that you say that you want to do. That's it. That's it. Can't nobody stop. Yeah. All that, like we can talk about it. Is there systems in place that the white man, screw them white folks, man. The white folks can't stop you from building nothing. They can't stop you from doing nothing, man. Especially if you serve Yahuwah. We already read it in John 8:19. They can't stop you from doing it. Can't nobody stop you but yourself. You put limitations on yourself. You gotta, as the people like to say, you got a scarcity mindset. You don't live in abundance. You don't want to. You scared that you're not gonna get something. You're looking at what could go wrong and what you could lose instead of what you could gain and what could go right. Same way we used to tell people, if you always telling me what you got to give up to serve you ain't meant to be saved. Because instead of looking at what you got to give up, you ain't looking at what you gain. You gain an entry into the household of Yahuwah. You gain an everlasting life. Get your raggedy behind up out of here, man. You ain't fit for it. You ain't fit for it. You can't never look at something and that you want to do and look at the sacrifices you have to make. You're supposed to look at what you're going to gain from the sacrifice made. If that's what you're trying to achieve. We went out when we were talking about being an olive male or alpha male. Alpha male, one of the things, he's altruistic. It means he's self-sacrificing. That means he's going to sacrifice for the benefit of the whole. When you look at what Yahushua did, his sacrifice did not benefit him. He was already a son of Elohim before he came down here. He already had inherited all things before he came down here. That sacrifice did not benefit him. That sacrifice was for the benefit of everyone under his charge. That's what it was for. You know what I'm saying? What benefit did Yahushua get from dying? All he did was pick. He said, my father gave me a commandment that I could lay my life down and I pick it up for myself. He wasn't picking up nothing that he didn't already have. He already showed you he was self-sacrificing when he put it down to be manifested in the flesh in the first place. Then sacrifice his life so he could pick up what was already his and give it to you. So that wasn't for him. The sacrifice was for his household, for his wife, and for his sons, and for his daughters. That wasn't for him. He considered them. He didn't consider himself. This is why he tells you to take up your stake and follow him. When you take up your stake and follow him, then you begin to understand the mindset and mind frame that he has, and you duplicate it. Because the vision, I don't get it twisted, his sacrifice was to fulfill his vision. But in order for his vision to be fulfilled, he had to sacrifice for his household so that they could help him and assist him in fulfilling the vision that he had. Because I heard Floyd Mayweather say this the other day. I already know this from personal experience. You're only one man. You can't do everything. You know what I'm saying? Now, Yahuwah can be everywhere at all times in all places, but even he got messengers and servants that sit in heaven to do his will. And he can do everything by himself. If Yahuwah wanted to do everything by himself, he could do it. That's nothing. There's nothing Yahuwah can't do. But even with that, he still had people under his charge because he know he can't do it by himself. That's what Floyd Mayweather was talking about. He said, I could attain this level of financial freedom that I've obtained by myself. I got a team. Same time, every time I sit down with my man Dom and G, they talk it all the time. We got a team. I can't do this over here and be there and be there. I can't do it. There's no way that things are going to be accomplished. I can't control all of that. But that's, of course, when you're dealing with that, you got to have a good team, which means, and that's probably the most difficult thing in business to find. But with Yahuwah, he already done picked his team. So he already know what his team going to do. It's just when he gives them the call that you've been drafted, come to the stadium and pick up your jersey. You know what I'm saying? This your role, play it. You know what I'm saying? Because when you sit back and look at it, it's no different being married. Both the man and the woman can't be a star player. If you look at basketball anyway, because football is the ultimate team sport. But for basketball championships to be won, it's got to be role players. And the woman is a role player because she got to assist the star to win the championship. Both of y'all can't be stars. You seen that when the Heat first started, they had a problem because Dwayne Wade and LeBron both, who gonna be the closer? Who gonna be the lead person? And that's why the boys folded against Dallas. Who gonna do it? Somebody got to be the lead person, and the other person got to play that second wheel in order to win. If both of them go, guess what? You don't remember Robert Ory. He got 6 championships though. He was a role player. Derek Fisher was a role player. Got a lot of rings. You know what I'm saying? Steve Kerr was a role player. Got a lot of rings. A lot of the players, star players on them teams, who wouldn't have those rings if it wasn't for players like them. Jordan ain't gonna have them rings without B.J. Armstrong and John Paxson and Horace Grant on the first 3. Just like he wouldn't have had it without Steve Kerr and Dennis Rodman on the last 3, or Ron Harper, who wouldn't have had them. Ain't but so much him and Pippen can do. When you understand that, you can win. But if everybody want to be the star, they ain't gonna win because the role players yield to the vision of the star. Stars want to say, I gotta be the lead person. I gotta be seen. And that's not conducive to winning. But Luke 6:39. Well, I'll make it 37. Look at me, I don't know what you did. Judge not, and you shall not be judged. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned. Forgive, and you shall be forgiven. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that you meet withal, shall be measured to you again. And he spake a parable unto them. Can the blind lead the blind? Shall they not both fall into the ditch? The disciple is not above his master, but everyone that is perfect shall be as his master. This is what he just told you. I'm going to read it again. The disciple is not above his master, but everyone that is perfect shall be as his master. So he's pretty much telling you the student is going to be as the teacher. The son is going to be as the father. Because we already, hold on, John 14, because we already know this. But I'm going to let the Lord take it. John 14:9. You playing with a dope, cuz? I know you wasn't. I just want to see what you was gonna say. You don't know what that, but you like to investigate. You like to investigate. Do you know what investigate means? Then why would you volunteer for something you don't know what it means? Huh? It sounded that? Yeah. I heard yesterday somebody, I like pizza. Cheese pizza. Sometimes with pepperoni. He said, I'm good. All I know is that I'm good. Oh, you know what I mean? Who taught you that? Who? No one taught you that? So you learned on your own. Oh, yeah. All right, little Mike, you're sharp over there, huh? You can read? How many books you read? More than one? What's your favorite book? What you looking at your mama Jesus for? What's your favorite book? Do you enjoy reading? I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, sir. John chapter 14, verse 9. I did my best of Mike. Since he's been about 2 years old, that's all he was saying. I'm good. You give me more than I'm good. You're almost a grown man now. How old you here, boy? How old are you? I just wanted to make sure. I already know you, Sam. I remember you was in the womb, taking all your mama nutrients. That was a big boy when he came out. Say Yahushua said unto him, this is John 14:9. Yahushua said unto him, I've been so long time weak unto you, I speak not of myself, but Abba that dwell in me, he do the works. So he was telling you that when you seen the Son, you saw the Father. So there's no difference between the two. They behave and conduct themselves in the same fashion. If you're born of the Son, then you're going to behave and conduct yourself in the same fashion. 1 John chapter 3, verse 4 again. Who did it back there upset like that? Oh, that's Lee's baby. Oh, that ain't Lee's baby. Whosoever commits sin transgress also Torah. Sin is transgressing of Torah. And you know that he was manifested to take away our sins, and in him is no sin. Whosoever abide in him sin not. Whosoever have not seen him, whosoever sin have not seen him, neither known him. Little sons, let no man deceive you. He that do righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. If you do what's right according to Yahuwah, as Yahushua did it, how would you not be righteous? That's why that verse in Ecclesiastes 7:20, that there's no none righteous upon the earth, no, not one, is no longer relevant. Because Yahushua the righteous has been manifested. And now he is the righteousness of Elohim, that all those that believe on him, according to the gospel of faith, are deemed righteous with him. He that commits sin is of the devil, for the devil sinned from the beginning. For this purpose was the Son of Elohim was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. So he was manifested to destroy sin. So if you become a son of Elohim and he's formed in you, then guess what will be manifested in you? The work that the son of Elohim committed, which was to destroy sin. And if sin is destroyed, then death is destroyed. And if death remains, because he was saying you could say you could see, but you didn't know where you were going. Why did they know where they were going? The book say when you walk in darkness, you have no way where you're going. See, you can't be in sin and tell me you know where you're going. That's impossible. You can't dwell in unbelief and tell me you know where you're going. That's why I keep telling y'all, knowing you an Israelite is not enough. Because that ain't telling you where you're going. That's not the light. That's not the work of God who shot the everlasting light. That's not the light. That ain't gonna get you nowhere. That's not the instruction, and it's not going to get you to the reproofs of life, which is the way of life, which is the thorns and briars that you have to be taught so that you can be in the likeness of a son of a king. And that anyone who slays you, they shall be slain. And that's what we read in Judges 9. He says, since you slayed them, oh, I got to slay you. Since they slayed Yahushua, Yahuwah got to slay them back. It's only right. Let's continue. 1 John 3:9. Whosoever is born of Elohim do not commit sin, for his seed remain in him, and he cannot his brother. Look at what he just said, right? The difference between obedience and disobedience allows you to know who's of the devil and who's of Yahuwah. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There is no in between. That's why he showed you the difference in the beginning when he separated the light from the darkness, to show you the difference between the sons of Elohim and the sons of Satan from the beginning. From the beginning. Let's go to Psalms 19. Let's start to get into why we're here today. Psalms 19:1, if you would. From Psalms 19:1 to Genesis chapter 2. And only y'all bear with me because I might cut some of the information short because we're coming right back at about 8 o'clock tonight. So, which is like 3-4 hours from now. So I may or may not complete the totality of what we hear today, folks. So if I don't, bear with me because 8 o'clock tonight, we're going to crank it up, do it again for probably about 45 minutes or an hour. Psalms 19:1. The heavens declare the esteem of Elohim, and the firmament show his handiwork. So the first thing that we want to look at is we want to talk about the word declare. The word is safar. You know, you got Samach and you got Pei, and you got Rosh, and of course you're grabbing hold to the words of the highest. But then when you look at that, it's take account of, or to number, or to reckon. And we talked about that last night, that I didn't grab the verse in Psalms 139, and that was my fault. But you know it said that in Psalms 139 that the members of his body, let me grab it for those who may not be aware. Come over here to Psalms 139. I'm just doing this here for those who may not be aware. We pick it up in verse 4, because I'm just trying to look and see what verse I want. Now, this particular book here describes this psalm as the prayer of a believing heart. It's very interesting. Psalms 139 and verse 4. For there is not a word in my tongue, but lo, O Yahuwah, you know it altogether. You have beset me behind and before and laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain it. Whether shall I go from my ruach, from your ruach, or whether shall I flee from your presence? Look what he said. How can I get away from you? If I ascend up to heaven, you are there. What happened when Yahushua went up to heaven? Who was there? He said at the right hand of his Father, does he not? He said, if I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. When he went in the grave, he was with him. Because that's how he got out the grave. And I said this to you before, and I'll tell you again. The only way you get out the grave in peace is that word has to be in you before you go in it. Because the word is alive, and that's what's going to manifest you from the grave. Everybody going to get up. But if you ain't going to get up on that first call, if that word is not in you. That's the breath of life. But let's look at the next thing. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall your hand lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the night shine as the day, and the darkness and the light are both alike to you. Now, what do you think this means right here in verse 11 when we say that even the night shall be light about me? You have that instance, which was showing him from resurrecting from the dead aforetime, but it wasn't night yet. But when you see that is because even when he made it go dark at the 9th hour, it was still light. The same way that Zechariah 14 tells you that even in the evening time, it shall be light, because at his coming, he's recreating what occurred in the beginning, because he's separating light from darkness, which why we look at that one word that tells you the last separation of light. That's what our brother don't realize. The first separation of light in the beginning was to separate life from death, because life was not first. That's why he said the earth was void and without darkness. That's not the plan of salvation. Then it's going to be without form and void when he returns. That's why I mentioned that earlier about the idols and how they worship and the things that they doing, because that's death, which leaves a void. That's why it's darkness. I didn't read the verse, but what did he say? He said, I'm going to depart, and the night will come when no man can work. You know what I'm saying? In a time of darkness, how these people live. So that's why he's making it go black upon his return. He make it go black, and he come in and he's that light. He separated light from darkness again, because what is he doing? He's extinguishing death out of the earth. We know Yahuwah, so we know this is why this is happening. Not just, oh, he said it's gonna make the moon go dark and the sun gonna give its light. You think it's just random occurrences. It's trying to show you something and give you insight and understanding. If the earth was without form and void, that means it had no life in it. And in him was the light, and the light was life of men. So that means the minute he said, let there be light, there was everlasting life, or some form of life. Because you're not going to get death from life. How are you going to get death from life when there was no life to begin with? The only life to begin with was the Lamb who was slain from the foundation of the world, which is another reason why it had to be dark, because he had to show you that I was going to slay this man and bring life from his death. So that when he came, you would know. Which is why when he gave up the ghost in the Gospels, it was dark. It was form. There's no void. There's no light. That's why when they came to the grave, it's light and he gone. To show us that we have to cast off the works of darkness and put on the armor of light and then live accordingly. It's all the stuff pointing to. Sometimes we make scriptures want to be all this here and dealing with doctrines that are of no consequences against, and you can't understand the goodness, the mercy, the love, and the faith of Yahuwah to understand why he does what he does. And I've been telling y'all for years, every time you see the sun come up, that's letting you know that that's another opportunity for you to get it together. Because he said the heavens declare his handiwork. So when the moon is out, or when the sun, when it's dark outside and that sun comes up, he's showing you that you can still manifest life from death. But let's continue. Verse 13, for you have possessed my reins, you have covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that your soul know right well. My substance was not hid from you when I was made in secret, curiously wrought in the lower parts of the earth. He's telling you how he's manifested in the grave, how he's made in the grave. Then my eyes did see my substance, yet being imperfect, and in your book all my members were written, which in continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. So now you begin to see that he say in his book all his members. You went over this before. Don't Ephesians chapter 5, Paul told you that we all members of his body? When you're dealing with members of a body or members, you're dealing with the wife. That's what he's referring to, his body. And he said they were written in the book, which we know is the Lamb's book of life. All his members were formed and fashioned and written in the book before they were ever created. That goes back to what we were discussing last night. When the Lamb was slain at the foundation of the world, if your name written in heaven, you were slain with it. It's not an if, but a when you'll be conformed to his image. That's why he said many are what? Called, few are chosen. That's why Revelation 17 say everybody with him is faithful, called, and chosen. In Revelation 17, he said they all three. He said they were called, I chose them, and they were faithful to what I called them to. So you have to hold fast to it. But let's continue. Where was we at? Psalms 19. So pause. So again, when you go outside and you look at the night sky or the heavens, you can see how he's declaring his handiwork in the firmament. Because when he's saying declaring, he's recounting or he's retelling. So all of those stars are a story of an individual who's been saved. And what is that story? It's the story that was found in the Lamb's Book of Life, because the Lamb's Book of Life recounts every man's deeds. What does it tell you in Revelation 14 and 13? You know what I'm saying? Blessed are those that die in the Lord from henceforth. Their works do follow them. Matter of fact, go to Malachi. Let me just do that. Malachi chapter 3, if you would. 3 and 13 is fine. Malachi 3:13. Your words have been stout against me, saith Yahuwah. Yet you say, what have we spoken so much against you? You have said it is vain to serve Elohim, and what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before Yahuwah of hosts? And now we call the proud happy. Yea, they that work wickedness are set up. Yea, they that tempt Elohim are even delivered. Then they that feared Yahuwah spake often one to another, and Yahuwah hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahuwah, and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, saith Yahuwah of hosts, the day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spares his own son that serveth. Then shall you return to discern the righteous and the wicked between him that served Elohim and him that served not. So there has to be a difference. We done went over this before about dealing with how you know who's chosen and who's not. The difference, as the saying, it's in the details. It's in the actions. It's not a magic mystery to know who's of Yahuwah and who's not. You know what I'm saying? My people say you don't never know who a God. The lies you tell. How you not gonna know when the Lord himself say you gonna know him by what? So ain't no way in the world you gonna tell me you don't know. That's foolish talk. You know what I'm saying? That don't make no sense. Your behavior gonna show if you of Elohim or not. You can't hide that. See, you can hide your heart and you can hide your thoughts. You can even hide your words, but you can't hide your behavior. Because your behavior gonna tell on you. You know what I'm saying? Society, so you want what you want immediately. Not knowing that anything of any substance takes some time for it actually reaches its peak state. You know what I'm saying? You live in something, well, I want it now. So if it don't happen in 3 months or 4 months, then I don't want to deal with it. Which is what? But I mean that's how stuff goes because people don't want to do the work. I don't care what it is, whether it's a relationship, whether it's business, whether it's a business, doesn't matter. It takes work and it's not going to reach its perfect state overnight. See, we want stuff to be done for that to be accomplished in that amount of time. Because if you hadn't, you can't expect that. And if it's going to be anything of value, you're going to have to work at it. It's going to be hard. You know, most businesses, man, it take 10, 15 years for them people to see the bread they want to see. To get to the point where they want to get at. It doesn't happen in 2 years. It doesn't happen in 3. It doesn't happen in 5. Definitely don't happen in a few months. Why do you think people in this country get divorced so often? Because nobody want to do the work necessary to get through. Most issues be minute. You know what I'm saying? But because nobody don't want to do the work, it mistakes, and then you know the cancer spreads and it kills it off. It's no different with the word. You think you're gonna be where you need to be at the word in 12 months? The only way you could be able to do that is if you had nothing other to do than to focus on you. I mean, you ain't had no wife, you ain't had no kids, you ain't had no job, you ain't had nothing. All you had to do was just sit around and focus on you day and night. I seen a dude, my homeboy tell me he know a dude talking about to make you believe that. I don't do nothing but read these scripts, That's all I do. I don't do nigga, you lying. You're lying. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody in this world gonna make you believe that you thinking upon Yahuwah. I can go for that. But you gonna try to tell me you just read the Bible all day, every day, that's all you do? Oh, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You cap it. You can cap for the internet. You ain't got cap. And I know ain't nobody do that. Just, I'm in the script all the time. You niggas, same niggas you say in the script all the time don't live damn word of it. Ain't that about that too? They said they study all the time. You like, that nigga's still evil though. So what good did the study do? See, you're not supposed to study just to study. You're supposed to study in order to know, in order to implement. Studying does you no good if there's no implementation. That's no all the studying for. Just so you can recite back information like a parrot. You know, scripture say this, brother. Scripture say this. Well, why you ain't doing it? Because you just faced that situation last week. Well, you did a total opposite. Well, you know, brother, we in this flesh. Go ahead. That's what they like to say. They always like to blame that flesh. Don't blame that flesh. Blame your wicked behind heart. That's what you do. Blame your wicked behind heart. But continue. Well, we good where we at, man. Go back to Psalms 19. Verse 1 again. And the firmament show his handiwork. Now, we already talked about the firmament last night. But I want you to come over here, look at this word handiwork, a word with which you are familiar. And it is Mashal. And it's the work or the labor. It's meme, it's ayin, it's shan, and it's hey. So when you take that, you see how the word, when I say word, dealing that with ayin, or that the behold the word pairs to the ruach. Now, why would we say that? Because we read last night, he said, where were you when I laid the chief cornerstone and that firmament? And you look like you're having a hard day, boy. Ephesians chapter 2, right? Pick it up at verse 16. Mommy. That's how you sound. Oh, he's not in the chair. But he's okay. Yes, he's okay. Grandma. Girl, fix your face. Fix your face. Fix your face. You got the right idea. Just go on and lay down. Just go on and lay down. Look at you. Now you're slobbing all on yourself. Look at you. Don't nobody care. Don't nobody care. Get your fingers out your mouth. Because you ain't no telling what you've been touching on. Man, you seen them people talking about I was telling you that last night, man. I seen the John LeBron James talking about, man, if they give us games with no, I ain't playing. That's what I play for. I told that nigga attention whore, but y'all don't want to believe it. No, I've been talking about this just being serious. Like I told him that night, all to the side, screw that nigga. That nigga served pain. You know what I'm talking about? So that nigga served pain. That means he done played plenty of flute this day. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up and down. But the fact that he said, I ain't playing no game without no fans in it, because if LeBron James can't be seen, he don't want nothing to do with it. I told you that nigga feminine, but y'all don't want to hear it because you like how he dribble a ball. He like to dribble balls. That's what he like to do. He like to dribble some balls. No, y'all just like the way he played, but that nigga a whole nigga. Ain't no way around that. Heck of a basketball player. I mean, you see it on the court. A whole nigga's a whole nigga everywhere. You just don't turn into a real nigga out of nowhere. You was a whole nigga on Tuesday, a whole nigga on Friday. If you was a whole nigga at the house, you was a whole nigga on the go. Man, when that nigga play the game, man, all that junk be narrative. Why niggas feel like he just that there to serve. That's why they say the games ain't real, so that's when No, I mean the games are real, but they're scripted. When I'm saying scripted, meaning is that like I told you, man, everything's about telling a story. So his power to become that, and then they assist him in that endeavor. That's not to say that this dude can't play no ball, but I'm talking about. But when I look at, before I even heard people look at it, because I don't watch him play, but he can only play one way. He has to dominate the ball, everything, because that's his character, because he's a whole. Everything got to be about him. All the focus got to be on him. Like he couldn't be the dude that played off the ball and fed off and moved without the ball and do this type of stuff. He got to be at the top of the key, boom, 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 so everybody can. But this man have a full haircut at the beginning of the game and ripples a forehead with his own. Like, bro, we know you ball, bro. I feel you. Your head misshapen. I understand. See, Jordan and Kobe were cool. They had a head that could pull it off. He ain't got one. That's what I'm saying. Your junk lumpy. So he trying to hold on. You know what I'm saying? Well, you ball, boy. I told him last night. But don't be shocked if his son Bryce come out here and be a piece of. And already got D-Wade. Don't be shocked. Don't be shocked. His son come out and be a little punk. Already throwing his daughter out there. I'm gonna follow a 5-year-old girl. That's what we were talking about last night. What Will and Jada Smith done did with their son. What they did with him. What they did with them turn. Them niggas homophobize. Nigga coming out talking about they want a male and a female. Somebody who can understand. What type of nigga, gender fluid and all this other stuff they coming with. They want you to be a punk. They want you to be bisexual. They want you as a man to say there's nothing wrong with you going to love another man. The lies you tell. That's what they had going on in Sodom and Gomorrah when they felt comfortable enough to knock on the nigga door and say, bring them on out here, let me know them. Come on, girl, there's men in here. Like how you felt comfortable enough to say, who the men you son in here? Can I have sex with them? Because that's what they did. That's what they did. The same thing they did in the book of Judges when they came to that dude house knocking on the door. Who that man is? You know how sick and depraved you got to be to knock on somebody's door and say, bro, let me have sex with you. Because you know once they get you to accept men being with men, they're going to want you to accept men being with little boys. See, the pedophilia ain't about men laying with little girls, contrary to popular belief. They want little boys. All you got to do is study history. That's what they own. They had to throw that out that these men be raping these little girls. They'll never talk about men raping men. One is to promote the female energy aspect, but that's what they own. Yeah, you got some nasty pervs and they want to touch little girls, but these nasty bastards, they like little boys. When you see them politicians get caught, who they get caught molesting the majority of the time? Little boys. How many Catholic priests you done heard of molesting little girls? But they show molest little boys. You know what I'm talking about? Show molest little boys. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they own. They man-boy love, pederasty. That's what they did in Greece. That's what they did in Greece. That's what they did in the gymnasium in Greece. They went in there and they taught philosophy and molested little boys. I read that when I was a kid. I said, these people nasty. He said, these people nasty. Y'all already told y'all, you know the Greek island of Lesbos? That's what they were doing out there. Eating snacks, carpet munching. And they think it's a game. You think it's a game. This is what goes on. You think they stop? So you think that they started some philosophizing and molesting little boys in ancient Greece, and you think they just stopped because it's 2020? Or we're more sophisticated now? Again, what did King Solomon say? Ain't nothing what? New under the sun. Everything that's happened has already been done. So guess what that means? During the flood, before the flood, they was doing all of that too. They were doing all of that too. Oh, Boy Scouts is a breeding ground for molestation of little boys. Breeding ground. Because honestly, when you deal with news, the molestation of little boys doesn't hit as hard as the molestation of little girls.
Companies or whatever organization they have assumed so much money.
No, they ain't gonna talk about it because it's little boys. Because that's what they want to promote. How many people in here got Apple News? Nobody. What'd you say, Lee? Maybe I do. No, I don't actually. I don't even. You gotta send it to. I might have deleted it. I did it before. Shoot, nigga talking about you ain't got no storage space. Son had to go. Apple News had to go. No, it's just there. I mean, it's on this one here, but if they come up talking about something need to be deleted because I ain't got no storage, Apple News the first one to go. You're the first one to go. I'm gonna holler at you, cuz. I don't even get notifications from them, and they own. What that take? But Ephesians 2:16. And that he might reconcile both of the Elohim in one body by the stake having claimed the enmity thereby. Enmity, excuse me. And came them that were near. For through him we both have access by one Ruach unto Abba. Now, therefore you are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of Elohim, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Yahushua HaMashiach himself being the chief cornerstone. So when you become a son of Elohim, you built on this foundation. I want you to come back to Genesis chapter 1. So Most High willing, we're going to slide and pick this up later on this evening. for the completion of this journey that we on. Because I do got another 30 to 40 minutes that I can do, but I don't see the need to do that when I got to pick it up in 3 hours. Oh, I'm going to grab Genesis chapter 2. I want y'all to know what handiwork under that, the word Yod was there, which is hand or power. So you see that is the work or power of Elohim when it states that the firmament show his handiwork, everybody. It says Messiah Yod. So that's the strength and power of the labor of Elohim. And if you recall from John chapter 1, verse 12, he said he gave us power to become what? Sons of Elohim. Not by the will of flesh, not by the will of man, but by Elohim. Because that's the only way you could become a son of Elohim. You're not a son of Elohim because you're an Israelite. If anybody tell you that, they don't lie. Why? Because that is of blood. Let's get that John chapter 1 and verse 12. And then we go to Genesis 2 and 1. Mommy? Mommy? Yeah, my mommy's back there. No, she's not. She's right there. What? No, I said that's my mom. What? No, I said my mom. Right there. That's my mom. Yes, you know this stuff. This is not a new revelation for you. Oh, your mom's right there. Oh, you used to live there. How long did you stay there? Oh, she left you at the gym.
Oh man, how did you feel?
Oh, she at the gym. Oh, because she said that you were quite detrimental on the door on the way out. Say your head was kind of big. Yeah, because you a husky boy. Oh, you wasn't messing around. Oh, okay. Say what? Oh, John chapter 1, verse 12. So now you know how to talk better than that. What? What? John chapter 1, verse 12. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of Elohim, to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of flesh, nor of the will of man, but of Elohim. But when you deal with an Israelite, that's the will of what? That's the will of the flesh, and the will of man, and of blood. That's not of Elohim, to make you a son of Elohim. There is difference. Genesis chapter 2, verse 1. He said, thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. So y'all know what that is. What did Yahushua say on the tree? It's what? It's finished. So that means all the works in heaven and earth were finished when he offered himself. It was done. It was complete. On the seventh day, Elohim ended his work, which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from the heavens and the earth when they were created in the day that Yahuwah Elohim made the earth and the heavens. Let's look at a generation. If y'all recall the word for generations, now listen, right? The definition is, of course, the course of history, or the begetting or the account of heaven. When you beget something, what have you done? Huh? Giving birth. So he's telling you that a definition of this word, toleda, is the birth of heaven. Now this is kind of shift your thought process when he say the heavens declare his handiwork. And that we know that the word kokav is the Hebrew word for stars, which literally means 1 John chapter 5. First John chapter 5. First John 5:1. Whosoever believes that Yahushua is the Mashiach is born of Elohim. Everyone that loved him, that begat, love him also that is begotten of him. So everyone that loved, because what did he tell you? He that believe on me don't believe on me, but believe on him that sent me. So everyone who loves Yahushua loves the person who birthed Yahushua. Everyone that, and it also states that begat love him also that is begotten of him. By this we know that we love the sons of Elohim when we love Elohim and keep his instructions. Now let's go back to Genesis chapter 2 and let's look at these characters real fast. Now again, generations mean descendants, proceedings, genealogies, account of men and their descendants. But in this instance, it's the begetting or the account of heaven. It is the birth of the heavens. That's Tau, U, Lamad, Dalet, and Hay. That's Tau, U, Lamad, Dalet, and Hay. Because the last part of what we're dealing with is what we deal with Yahweh. Then we can get to the stars and get attached to the firmament and those things of that nature. Because we already discussed some of those items last night and on Wednesday to get us to this point. To get us to this point, we know in order to even become to be in the likeness of a son, you have to be taught with thorns and briars. Because what was Yahushua? When Yahushua said it was finished, it was the thorns and briars that got him to that point. Because all it is recreate. Now notice on the seventh day he rested. So what is Yahushua doing? Because what did they say was coming up when they had to get him off the stage? It was a Shabbat. This is why we also know he did not get up on a Shabbat. Why would he get up on the day of rest? When his father rested on the seventh day, John chapter 5 say, as the father do, the son does what? Likewise. So if the father rested on the Sabbath, why wouldn't the son rest on the Sabbath? Why would the son get up on the day of rest? When Genesis 49 tells us that he saw rest was what? Good. And in Exodus 31 tells us what? That he refreshed himself or he was regenerated. So of course, if the father began back working on the first day, why wouldn't the son go back working on the first day? Why would he get up and work on the Sabbath, contrary to what his father did, when the disciple is not above his master, and everyone that is perfect shall be as his master? Or as the father is, so the son will be. So if the father rested, the son's going to rest. And when the father works, the son's going to work. Why? Because my father is giving me an instruction what I should say and what I should do. And I know his commandment is life everlasting. And he's called our everlasting father in Isaiah chapter 9. So if this is what Yahuwah has done, then you would do what your father tell you to do. This is why I've always stated that if you did not have a masculine presence in your childhood or a masculine presence that you respected, it can be very difficult to you as an adult. This is God. Because if you can honor your father who you see, then you can honor your father who you cannot see. You can't have the honor for the father who you can see, then you will not have the honor for the father whom you cannot see. And if no man is going to have a rebellious son in his household. See, what we used to live in a society, because you deal with a lot of single women raising kids, that the son can be rebellious, and she allows him to dwell there. And she feels like it's where when you deal in a different time, maybe in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, if you was rebellious as a son, you got put out. You're not going to stay here. You're not going to stay here and run my house. Because at this point, now your mother will not respect me. Now your siblings will not respect me. That's why as a woman, you ain't never supposed to put your children before their father. Because you're teaching the children that they can disrespect their father, that they are more important than him. And that's not how that works. He is the most important person in the household because he's the one who sets the standard for the whole household. He cares if anybody in the household feels like they can disrespect the head of the household, it's a wrap. The household will descend into chaos. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Or if the man doesn't carry himself with respect and honor and conducts himself properly, then the house will descend into. Either way it goes, the man is the most important. Just like because he's the head of the whole team. And if he don't know how to read a defense or he can't stay calm under pressure, this, that, and the third, it'll destroy the whole team. It'll destroy the whole team. A championship team that had a quarterback that nobody on the team respected. You ain't never heard of. Just like you ain't never heard of a successful family that had a father that was not respected. Never heard of it. It ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna happen. But that's on us to carry ourselves with a modicum of respect and to conduct ourselves and lead with respect, with honor, as we done went over in the past. You know what I'm saying? That's what you have to do. Because you would be emulating your head. That's why I told y'all that last week or a couple weeks ago, and I tell you again, your wife can never be your rock. If she your rock, she not gonna respect you. Lean on you. The reason why I say it, especially if we serve Yahuwah, because she on you supposed to lean on Yahuwah. If you leaning on me instead of leaning on Yahuwah, that means you can't lead and I can't trust you, so I'm not gonna respect you. Because I'm looking for you to go to God and bring that back to me. Ain't that's what happened supposed to be in the beginning? Wasn't Adam supposed to lean on Yahuwah and then he take that to Eve? Or did he lean on Eve and then get that and then go to Yahuwah? Absolutely not. You leaning on her, that's gonna be a problem because eventually, I already told you, look at their shoulders. Do their shoulders look like meant to carry burdens? Absolutely not. Their shoulders ain't meant to carry burdens. Oh, you got big shoulders? No. You talking about? No, you talking about Chunky. Chunky ain't got nothing to do with no shoulders. Nigga, them shoulders slim. Look at that little boy. He said he about to fall off right now. He said he holding on by a thread. Look at him. He looks scared too, man. He said, if I dip one dead way, I'm gonna be on the floor. Now he's smiling. You smiling? You good? Fat man, you good? You ain't got your fur on today. I ain't never seen a little boy get an outfit and be spotted. Not that young. I seen him. Shoot, the first time he had it on, I was like, what this boy moving around spotted? I ain't never seen a toddler be spotted. I ain't mad at you, cuz. It must be in your blood. Oh, that's how you feel when you smell it? Oh, you young, you thought you was somebody, huh? Oh, you see, spotted. Spotted. Go on, head on. But all right. You got Tile, you got you got Lamar, you got Dalit, you got Hay. So we'll just look at this and simply ask that behold that the teachings of the sacrificial secured covenant. Simple as that. Because that's what we're seeing in the beginning. Because that's what's being begotten or retold or accounted again. What you're seeing in the heavens is what happened when Yahushua was slain from the foundation of the world to set in effect the everlasting salvation that will be manifested on the last day. So that when you saw the heavens, that you would see the gospel and you would maintain hope. See, the people in this time, they worship the creation instead of the creator. When the creation was supposed to be a witness of the work of the creator, so therefore you would worship the creator. But see, men are simple. Men are simple. Men are simple, but hallelujah for Yahushua. Where we start right here. Y'all willing, we'll pick this up again in about 3 hours. And we'll finish this off. But I bless everybody in the house of y'all name of Yahushua. I appreciate all your time. Again, you who are willing, we'll pick us up again about 8 o'clock. We will finish this off about the stars being affixed in the firmament and how they show forth themselves to be the sons of Elohim and everything that accounts to that. And how that multitude of people is for the honor of the king because we honor the king. So therefore that brings honor to him. Because all kings are to be honored and treated with the utmost and diligent respect. But this is about birthing yourself into becoming a son of Elohim and understanding what that means. And understanding that when you see the creation of Yahuwah, that is bearing witness to the righteousness of Yahuwah and the love and mercy and sacrifice that was extended unto man, of which man did not deserve, that you can understand the grace of Yahuwah and therefore submit to him. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the simple fact of what this man has done, it takes everybody to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say that everybody got to follow the same path to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? When I got to that point, it was just as simple as, well, this whole book is true, and clearly I'm going to go to hell, so I need to change my life. My way didn't work. Clearly. I ain't know nothing about no Bible, didn't read no Bible. I wasn't around no dudes who was on no Bible. It was just me and my nigga, and he showed me something. And when I seen it, I said, I knew this happened, and I'm going to hell, point blank period. I know this happened. This book is saying this occurred, and I know it's occurred. I ain't got no, Israelites, I ain't care about none of that. Your way didn't work. You tried it for 28 years. It was unsuccessful. So now it is time to follow you. And he took an active role on, you gonna listen, honor, and follow me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't had no disrespect for him. I ain't never disrespected him in my life. I ain't had no reason to. Whether he was there or not, didn't make no difference. That's still my daddy. Some people don't have that thought process based on what their parents did, and I can understand that. You know what I'm saying? I'm only speaking for me. Was he there all the time? No. That's still my daddy. He's still gonna get the respect he deserved because that's who he was, and he got that to the day that he died. You know what I'm saying? But my granddaddy like this here, 5 years old, son, I need you to go do this, I need you to go do that. It learns you to yield and have that honor and respect for a masculine principle. That's why when I went to prison, dudes would be like, all right, I ain't disrespecting no white here. Unless he acts a particular type of way, because that's still a black man. Don't care where I'm at. I'm gonna respect his authority unless he a buster. And he don't get no respect. You know what I'm saying? Same way, I snap on a white police officer in my youth before a black one, because I'm gonna give him that respect because he a black man. You know what I'm saying? Period. You know what I'm talking about? Now, I'm not gonna disrespect the white dude because he's white, because he's still a man, so he owed respect. And that's because also in our family, we didn't have an image of hating our own people. So I'm already going to have a level of respect for my own people. I didn't come up in an environment of hating yourself. So I already have a love and respect for my people off the top. Most of us don't have a love and respect for our people because you ain't, therefore you hate what looks like you. This is why the text tell you no man has ever yet hated his own flesh, and how a man treat his wife is how he feel about himself. But nevertheless, you were willing, man. I appreciate y'all. Bless y'all the house of you were willing, man. 8 o'clock, man. 3 hours from now. We'll pick this back up. Oh yeah, I had forgot to mention we gotta have a spot for Sunday and what we gonna eat. Now we could cook something or we could pull some bread and order it.